Welcome to the Potential Psychology Podcast. I'm your host, psychologist Ellen Jackson, and this is the show in which we explore what it is to be human and how we as humans can fulfill our potential. Welcome back to the Potential Psychology Podcast, or welcome if you are a brand new listener. It is wonderful to have you here, and it is wonderful to be back. Due to the ongoing chaos of pandemic life, we have been off the air since January 2022, but the disruption has brought us an opportunity to rejig and reshape and reinvigorate the show, and this includes a few exciting new features that I wanted to just introduce you today in this little welcome back mini episode. Firstly, we have two new co-hosted series coming up over the remainder of the year. The first of these starts next week, and I will be exploring fun and wellbeing with my co-host, behavioural scientist, psychologist, entrepreneur and author, Dr. Mike Rucker. And Mike and I will be talking all things fun and how it's an important, underrated and easy to implement strategy for boosting your well-being and enhancing productivity and connecting families and making a difference in our worlds, both at a personal experience level, but also at a community-wide impact level. And Mike's going to be sharing with us his story of implementing more fun into his life, as well as his research into the psychological literature on this topic, and also the book that he's written about it, which is all about fun and wellbeing, and it's going to be born into the world in early 2023. The whole series is going to be a whole lot of fun, pun fully intended. And my co-host for our second series, which will hit the air a little later in the year, is co-hosted with a great friend of the show, Dr. Joe Sweeney. And Dr. Joe and I will be getting deep into the nitty-gritty of the future of work. And this will include some research that we'll be doing. Well, Joe will mostly be doing, which is kind of a new thing as well. We're getting out there and doing our own practical research as part of the show into your concerns about the future of work. So stay tuned as part of that project for your opportunity to tell us what you want to know about what life and work will look like or might look like in the future. Do you worry about how the future world of work might affect your kids? Do you feel that our schools are preparing kids well for the future of work? How might learning change in the future? Is that something you need to know about? Will the bots and the automation take over? There are so many questions that we will be finding the answers for you, and that's all coming up later in the year. Our other exciting news is that you can now chat directly to me about the topics that we cover on the show via the Q&A feature of Spotify podcasts. If you listen to your podcasts via Spotify, as I do, you might notice a Q&A heading in the notes for each episode. So under that heading, we'll include a question, kind of think of it as a prompt for further thinking, relevant to our episode topic, and you can hit reply and tell us what you think or what your experience has been or what's working for you, or maybe ask a follow-up question. And this adds a whole new audience participation dimension to the show, which I'm really looking forward to. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the show through Spotify, listen in and look for that Q&A link so that I can have a chat with you. We can make this a two-way conversation. And the final new and exciting update to the Potential Psychology Podcast, now that we're back, is subscriber bonus content. That's right, you can now become a paid special VIP member of the Potential Psychology Podcast on Spotify and Anchor FM for just $5.99 a month. That's Australian dollars. So if you're paying some other dollars, it may even be cheaper than that. But that's Australian dollars, and you'll reap the rewards of some bonus episodes. So for this month, our bonus content will include Fun at Work, a snippet of further conversation with Dr. Mike Rucker about the benefits of having fun in the workplace, with tips and strategies for easy implementation that I'm going to share from my experience and the experience of my coaching and consulting clients. So if you're a workplace leader or somebody who's keen to invest in a little more fun at work, that will be some excellent bonus subscriber content for you to access in order to do a bit of the doing of that stuff. Each month, we'll include different bonus episodes and content for our special subscriber content. We'll be playing around with this subscriber service just to find out kind of what works best for you and for us. So I'm really keen to hear what you would most like and enjoy. And of course, always keen to hear feedback as well. That's always really helpful for us to be able to continuously improve, especially as we implement new ideas. So some of the prospects for this extra content, VIP content, might include early releases, could include archive content, could include Q&A episodes, so whole kind of conversations around your questions and our answers, my answers. And what else could we do? Video podcasts, who knows? There are lots of different options. This space is growing and changing rapidly, which is really exciting. So this might be an opportunity for you to test out the Q&A function for this episode on Spotify or Anchor FM and answer my first audience question: what special subscriber content would you like as a VIP member of the Potential Psychology podcast? And of course, please sign up as a subscriber via Spotify or Anchor FM. So if you're interested in that, that's our VIP subscriber content. There is a link which we'll put in the show notes today, but it is anchor.fm/potential psychology/subscribe. And for more information on this VIP subscriber only podcast episodes and service, you can go to blog.anchor.fm/paid-subscriptions #listeners. That's a lot for you to remember, isn't it? You're probably not going to remember that. We'll put the link to that in the show notes as well. That's all from me today in this little mini welcome back episode. I hope you're as excited as I am about the show's return, the conversations that we have coming up for you, and the new and exciting ways in which you can engage with us and the wider PP community. If you're not already a subscriber to the show, that's not the VIP subscriber, although of course we'd love you to do that too, but just somebody who hits the subscribe button so that you automatically receive new episodes of the show in your podcast feed and therefore in your ears. Please do that now on your preferred podcast listening platform. We'd also love it if you could rate and review the show, particularly if you're a long-time listener and you haven't done so already. You can do that on Apple Podcasts, but you can also now do it on Spotify, which is also exciting if you're a fellow Spotify listener. We don't have any reviews of the show on Spotify yet, as reviews are a new Spotify feature. So here is your chance to be our very first reviewer. Just take a look for that little button that says review this podcast or something similar when you find the podcast tile on your Spotify feed. And finally, there is, I think I've said finally already, this is the final. There is new stuff happening over on the Potential Psychology website, as well as new podcast episodes. After talking about it for way too long, we finally do have some online program modules available on the site. And the first of these is a little mini course called Thriving Post-Pandemic, Tips for Wellbeing and Well-Doing. It's about an hour of video and audio lessons with some downloadable guides and planners. It's me exploring the impact that the pandemic has had on us. So pandemic fatigue is a thing. You may well be feeling it. And I'll provide some practical tips and strategies for getting from kind of just surviving in this phase of the pandemic, because we are still in it, to really getting back to thriving. So that's all at potential.com.au, along with our newsletter subscription sign up and the podcast show notes. It's all happening over there. So until we're back, which is next week, with the first of my very excellent conversations with Dr. Mike Rucker about having more fun, please go forth and take small steps to fulfill your potential.